Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Monday Movie Club. I'm your host, Kieran J.C. Bodkin. This week, we are going to be entering the world of anime as we talk about the movie Red Line. And here to talk with me about Red Line is one of my best friends, and when I'm not in quarantine, my roommate, Justin DeSilets.
Hello.
Hey, Justin,
It's
how
me.
are you doing?
Surviving. Most anyone can ask for right now.
You're holding up in quarantine all right? You're staying healthy? You're staying mostly sane?
Healthy, as sane as I was before, which is to say not a huge lot, but
But like you're keeping it within the ballpark, which is what's important, right?
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
No home runs yet.
That's good to hear. Justin, first, I just want to start off by saying thank you for joining me, being one of my first guests.
Hell yeah, dude.
Um, and I like to open these things up by asking a few non your movie related questions, just to get a baseline for the audience. Okay.
Cool.
So the first question I have for you, what is the first movie that you remember seeing in theaters, if you have any memory like that?
In theaters. Meet the Robinsons?
Meet the Robinsons. That's the animated movie, right?
Yeah. It's the one where they had that Rob Thomas song. Um I can't remember it at all.
Well, it is an early memory in your head.
Yeah.
Does that take place in the future, right? If I recall correctly?
Yeah, it takes place. It's about an orphaned kid who wants to meet his parents. And then, like, this other kid comes back in time to meet his dad, who is the kid in the beginning. And then they go to the future, and he learns that he's had the family all along and he's going to get adopted from the orphanage. And, um, yeah,
Yeah.
it takes place in the past and the future, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing snippets of that on like the Disney Channel when they would replay it. I don't think I've ever seen the movie all the way through, but I vaguely know of that movie.
Clearly, I should have
Um,
chosen that movie for my movie.
well, you certainly chose an interesting movie, but we'll get into that very soon. My second question for you on the topic of non-red line related questions is there a movie from your childhood? So, Meet the Robinsons is the thing you remember first from theaters. Is there a movie from your childhood that stands above the rest as like a major influencer on you or your taste in movies?
I mean, my favorite movie from my childhood was Cloud Atlas, which is a pretentious ass answer.
From your
Um,
childhood? When
I
did
mean,
Columbus come out?
I was 14 when I discovered. You're still a child before you're
Yeah,
18.
you are. You're right. I for some reason I feel like that movie is more recent, but no, I guess that is yeah, because I probably saw it a couple years after it came out, and I was still only like 16.
Yeah. Um, it basically it either got 100% reviews or 0% reviews. People either loved it or hated it, but the way I usually describe it to my friends is that it's my favorite movie because they try to make the grandest statement about humanity of any movie I've ever seen in my entire life, and they almost stick the landing.
Right.
And
And it's like they set the bar so high, so the fact that they almost got there is impressive in and of itself.
Exactly. They dreamed big, and it taught me to dream big and try to accomplish as much as I possibly could. So,
Let's jump into the movie of your choice, which is Red Line, which I got some poster right behind me
hell yeah.
of that. Uh, the first question I have for you is why Red Line? Why did you pick Red Line?
Well, because I figured it was my best chance of getting you to watch the movie Red Line.
Very fair. I do not frequent the anime world. I
I
don't.
do not. Mm-mm.
It's probably the one area of nerd knowledge that I know nothing about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you asked me which movie I wanted to pick, I figured it was a good way to get you in. You know what I mean?
Do you want to give like a brief synopsis, as spoiler free as possible synopsis of Red Line for any audience members who might be watching that didn't get a chance to watch it before this airs?
Yeah. The best racing movie you've ever seen. I mean, period. But also just, I think it's like an hour and 45 minutes or an hour and a half, but just an hour and a half of absolutely letting everything else go and just completely engaging with a world that is so well crafted, but not in your face about how well crafted it is. I mean, you can tell that there are like machines that the guy built that he doesn't go into detail, but he just introduces different ways of like getting off the spaceship. And it's just pretty good. I've never watched Redline and been disappointed, and I hate rewatching movies. So,
Kind of going off of what you were saying though, about the world itself and the way that it's crafted, it's a wonderfully weird world, and I actually only have one true question that I wrote down during this very short hour and a half ride for you, because I'm trying to take notes during these movies because people took time to pick them and wanted to show them off. So just one question: what did you make me watch?
yeah.
I'm not saying the movie is bad. It was enjoyable. It was adrenaline filled. It's just it might be one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
It was a balls to the wall crazy movie. There's scenes where they're eating spaghetti that turns out to be alive. There's clearly this whole economy that's going on, and I don't understand how they're trying to rig games. The fact that you can bet like midway through a race, I didn't know you could do that. I don't know if you can.
I think you can actually. I've at least in horse races, I think you can.
But wouldn't the way for you to get the most money out of it be have the person in the lead, like have JP be in the lead the whole time, always be in the lead, so that his odds are really like how is he possibly going to be taken down and then he crashes?
Well,
But
then
again,
you'd have to bet on someone that wasn't JP, right?
yeah, you'd want to bet. I don't know. I don't know how gambling works, if I'm being honest.
No, I don't know how gambling works either. I think,
I
and
took them at their
honestly,
word.
I think this is a movie where you just get to throw all that out the window. It's just an hour and a half of pure, just go with it and enjoy it, and it's a crazy world.
Yeah, because I mean, the way that they structure the movie, for those of you who might not have seen it yet, the the beginning of it, there's probably like a 20-minute segment of the movie, maybe like 15 minutes, that just sort of sets up racing and how they're going to stylize racing, and that's adrenaline filled. And then they take probably another half hour to kind of build the world out and explain all the characters to you. And then the final third is just a race the whole way through.
The red line race, it's what you're here for.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's one of those almost like speed racer like races where like you can do anything. You can throw bombs at people and that's okay.
Yep. Absolute people can use, but specifically the main character JP is the only character that doesn't have any weapons on his car because his whole thing is just about trying to drive and he's not trying to interfere with people. He's just trying to do the thing he loves.
I have a general question for you. What is it about anime specifically that resonates so strongly with you? Because I know that it's something that you enjoy a lot of, Daniel enjoys a lot of. It's something that I personally have never fully connected with the same way that a lot of other people do. And I was just wondering if you could put into words why it resonates with you.
It tells completely insane, batshit crazy stories with elements that you would never imagine or think of, like the creativity that they display in pretty much any of the animes that I watch, unless they're like slice of life anime, is crazy, and it completely takes me away from the real world for just a little bit to like play in this wonderful sandbox they've created. And that's sort of the same way that superheroes work.
Mhm.
But I feel like they do an even better job of like going to deep, heartfelt moments than even comic books, honestly. Like for me, when I'm reading a comic book and I get to a point where like a hero dies or he learns that his son was the bad guy or something like that, like it can emotionally touch me, sure, but I sort of feel like they've been building to it for a while, and there's something about anime specifically where it's just the ability to go from laughing to crying seamlessly without even expecting it.
Right, right. And there's something about also if they're doing similar things, both anime and comic books, as you said, with comic books, they have to build to it. And if comic books take 3 issues to build to something, that's 3 months of building.
Yeah.
Whereas with anime, you're probably binging it and you were there for 40 minutes.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're weeping and you're just like, I was laughing. This was supposed to be a silly, stupid show. I was sitting here to watch anime and get away from my. And then you like call your dad and you're like, I'm sorry.
Okay, so this is kind of the last question that I have for you before we jump into the more like free-form talky part of this. Kind of a fun game. If this movie were to be remade today, like a Hollywood live action remake of this movie, who would you cast as like the 4 main characters? So like JP, um, Frisbee, the old man, and the cherry boy hunter. Is that her name, right?
Sanchi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Her name's Sanchi. Um, I'm not. I don't want. I don't want to make a live action because they always go very poorly for animes. But
Hey,
um,
Speed Racer was all right.
it was forgettable. But like the top of the barrel anime live action movies are forgettable. The bottom of them are like definite. Um,
Eh,
let's see. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. You got to have
For JP.
yeah for JP because he always goes with the updo and he can pull off the ducktail really well and he's got that
He's got
like
a little-
Don John is a good example of when he was like pulling that off.
right, for like the swagger that he needs behind him.
Exactly.
I got you.
And then Sam Elliott for the old man because he's got the trademark mustache.
He's got the mustache. He's kind of worn down, and
Yeah.
you want to see him carry a gun.
Really, the only reason that he needs to be in the movie is because he's worn down and needs to carry a gun for me.
There we go.
Frisbee.
And you need Frisbee and Cherry Boy Hunter Osanshi.
Peter Dinklage for Frisbee is just there.
Because he's a powerhouse and you need someone who's a powerhouse.
Exactly. And then Sanashi, like Anna de Armas, maybe.
Oh, from Knives Out, Blade Runner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now let's just go right into talking about the movie. The first thing I wanted to bring up about this movie is the thing that stuck out to me the most as one of the things that was really good about the movie, which was not just like the soundtrack, but the sound design.
Mm-hmm.
I
mean,
just thought the balancing of all the sound effects and the really great music, all of it was perfect to fuel that adrenaline and make you feel like, yes.
Yeah. The moments when like the cars are starting to like rev up and they will just, as the engine gets louder, fade out some of the background music just so that you can get the highest point of the engine, and then they blast the music back in full force right at the exact time you get the takeoff. It's just so well done.
Yeah, it's I think especially for any movie about like racing in particular, you kind of need that to be on top for you to have a good movie going for you, whether you're talking about Baby Driver or you're talking about Speed Racer or Redline. Like, that is a must.
Yeah, yeah, you want to feel like you're right there with them as they're going through it. I'm not a huge fan of racing movies in general. Like, I didn't see like Ford versus Ferrari. I was way behind seeing Baby Driver. I've seen it now, but like I hadn't for a long time.
Oh, Baby Driver's so good.
Well, yes, definitely.
What about Talladega Nights?
I wouldn't. I mean, I guess it's a racing movie, but it's kind of a movie that's like, all right, racing movies. Why don't you just like chill for a little bit?
What are you talking about? It's totally about racing. It's a comedy, sure, but are you going to tell me that Kicking and Screaming isn't a soccer movie?
I mean, I feel like a true racing movie or a true soccer movie like talks about the virtues of playing soccer or like the struggles that you're going through while you're playing soccer, and like has a very soccer centric story, soccer centric conflict. That's what I feel.
Well, then back to Talladega Nights. Is not all of the things you just listed a part of Talladega Nights?
It's just
Yeah, it is.
I
It's a
can't.
racing movie.
But okay. Satire is about the thing, but it's really about the other thing. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Like
Sure.
it's in a Talladega Nights is in a racing shell, and it could only be told through the story of racing. I absolutely believe that, but like I don't consider it to be like a movie for like racing fans.
What to you are the things that separate this movie from other animes as one that you want to return to frequently? You don't like to return to movies. You've returned to this one 5 times. What stands out to you for this one that you keep coming back to?
The reason I love this movie is because it's asking you to just turn off the thinky part of your brain for
Oh,
just
I'm
a
so
little.
bad at that.
Shit is so dire in many different ways. You read shit every day. I read stuff every single day that makes me sad because I have my thinky parts on all the time. And if you just, the movie in a way teaches you to just go with it for a little bit and just like, it's the, it's single-handedly the best movie that like takes me out of my anxieties. It takes me out of anything that's going on in the world for just an hour and 30 minutes, and you go along for a crazy ride, right? If you can get yourself to stop, and that's what the ending is. It literally, for no reason, in cursive, you'll know this. It just says love at the
Love.
end.
It just says
It
love.
says love, and it makes an ah.
And I was like, I didn't realize this movie was about love.
It's not. It's not, and it's not a satisfying conclusion. But guess what? The ride's over.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a good point. And I think a lot of us have those movies that take us away, whether we're feeling sick or whether we're in quarantine. We all have those movies that sort of, for us, for whatever reason, whether it be nostalgia or it uses a part of our brain or doesn't use a part of our brain that we're used to using or not using,
Yeah.
or it's just fun. Like for you, it's Redline. For me, usually that's Princess Bride. It's the one movie if I'm feeling bad, mad, sad, anything, I'm just like, I'm ready, and everything else doesn't matter. And I think we all have those movies, and so I think it's a good place to leave it. I want to thank you for sharing your Happy Place movie with us.
Hell yeah.
Let us know down in the comments below what movies you go to when you're feeling bad, mad, sad, or anything to just make you forget about the world, quarantine, anything going on. What movie is that for you? Justin, do you have anything you want to leave anybody with? Anything to plug? Anything to say?
I'm doing a weekly monologue series. Kieran, if you wouldn't horribly mind putting the link in below as well, I'd
Of course the link will be in the description. Everybody keeps asking me, will it be in the description? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. You put the link. I'll put the link to this in my description of my next. I do monologues weekly. Please watch them. I am specifically doing them because I believe that like feeling things and like cultivating more empathy during this time of isolation is very important, and engaging in good works of art can help us feel more connected. So I figured I'd just like put myself out there a little bit. So watch it. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Justin. All right. Well, that's it, everybody. Next week, we are going to be watching Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Personally, one of my favorite movies of all time. If you haven't seen it yet, please be sure to watch this before next week because it is like a must-see. So thank you all once again, and I'll see you next Monday. Bye, everyone.
Bye.